So of course my dad wanted me to go to the best school, and again, what do best schools have? They have exams. So this time my uncle took me to take an exam, and I sat in the exam a couple of hours. Same thing, my uncle got the score, and again the same silence. I didn't want to ask him, right, because I knew what the score would be. And then eventually the thing that I had learned in terms of like what should we do, and the past couple of classes that I've been attending in Toastmasters, I believe I did embed some of these qualities in Toastmasters that I had learned when a kid when I was growing up. Because when you're not good in school, you know how to fake it, right? Because when there's an exam at the end of the year, there's a 2-month summer holiday period. And that's when you want to ensure that you have a good time. So when you come home, your dad is going to ask you, how did you do your exams? So you need to have confidence, like when you're talking, right? When your dad asks you, son, how was the exam? It was good, Dad. It was very good. So you should put some emphasis, so he knows that, okay, yeah, it was really good probably, I shouldn't ask him again. But no, my dad wouldn't stop there. He would take the exam paper and try to ask, what is the answer for this question? So that's when there was a 1-hour journey from school to going home, and that's when I would try to mug up the answers for the questions. At least I knew that, okay, even if I have to get thrashings after 2 months, at least for the 2 months I'll have a good time. So you need to fake it to make it. So that was the other thing and all. You are not supposed to use any or right? At least a few corrections I've seen. Because if your dad asks you a question, you cannot do right? You need to say, Dad, this is the answer over here. So that's how it'll be. But this is there to a point, right? But now the same thing what I see in conclusion is my dad also learned some things from what I did to him. Because when my aunts or uncles would come and ask him that, okay, how is your son? My son is good. That's what he would reply. Ladies and gentlemen, so this is my speech, and thankfully, so thankful to you all. And yeah, at the end, you need to fake it to make it.
Mr. Timer, could we have 1 minute for our judges, and I'll check with Arvind if we need more time.
The jacket comes off.
It's humorous. It's
As long as that's the last thing that comes off, we're good.
yeah. Might change my mind though. We're good? Sure. We'll move on to that. Alright, now for our second speaker, Sasha Hammer, setting the record straight. Setting the record straight, Sasha Hammer.
practice chair, fellow Toastmasters. There are a few misconceptions I'd like to clear up today for once and for all. Let's start with tall folks, like me. Some people believe that being tall gives you superpowers. I was usually the tallest in my class, and so that meant that every year, religiously, my teachers would pick me, to do high jump and broad jump at the school sports. Now, I think they felt that being tall means you have great abilities because you have long legs. I couldn't escape. Every year, it was the same thing. Tall girl, come here. Me? Yes, you. Come here. Now, they knew my name. But when what they were looking for was a physical attribute, you became that. They messed with our minds. I mean, was the tall girl really going to say, no, thank you. I think short legs can do it. And so, I would have to do it. Now, I didn't mind broad jump because you landed on a bed of sawdust, nice and soft. But high jump, that was a different animal. Do you know how intimidating it is to look at a bar 5 feet high and know that you somehow have to get over that thing? And so, to get a head start, I would practice. And after a while, I got good. I got really good. In fact, I got great. At limboing. I think they got frustrated with me after a while. I mean, I still contributed to school sports. I threw a mean shot put. No long legs required. And you know who excelled at high jump? My short friend, Sharon. The other misconception I'd like to clear up is that living in the States automatically makes you rich. Now, about 2 months after I had come to this country, I got a letter from a friend back home. Hi, Sasha. Hope all is well. Can you send me a bottle of White Diamonds perfume? A Tommy Hilfiger jeans? A top to go with those jeans? Now I know I had written to her and told her that I had gotten a little job at my community college as a peer tutor. But I think what she heard was that I was working as a professor. Anyhow, she got 2 bars of Cadbury chocolates with nuts. And the last misconception I'd like to clear up is that we West Indians can easily learn to say the word "re." I used to wonder why when my daughter handed me things, she would hand me in trees. And she would ask, "How many do you have?" And I would say, "I have 3 ribs." She would giggle, How many? 3? I work with numbers. And my worst nightmare is to see the number 33 show up on a report I have to give a presentation on. That to me is a tongue twister. And the last thing I want to be doing at work is twisting my tongue on an important presentation. So when that number shows up, I make a rounding decision. That number becomes 32 with a rounding error. Totally acceptable. And as for my daughter, I caught on pretty quickly. So when she would hand me 3 things, I would ask for 1 more. Because 1 more makes 4. And I am good with 4. Thank you.
Let's give a minute for the judges. Tally the balance. Oh, you want it?
I'm not always.
Everyone now, yeah, good times, so. Start? Sure, that's gonna be fine. Right. Okay. Now, for our third speaker, Shiva Chandrasekhar, tips to be a better speaker. Tips to be a better speaker, Shiva Chandrasekhar.
Anyone wanted to be a better speaker? Oh, your name? Oh, it looks like everyone. So I will come back at the end. Before end of my speech, everyone is going to get Toastmasters Club deeds. You just follow that, and I will be providing it. That will be helpful. See, public speaking is a skill. Anyone can acquire it. You have to just follow some basic rules and keep on practicing it. Some of the basic rules are like keep the audience entertained, make them smile, give a clear message that you should not confuse them, and at the end, if possible, try to make the audience have some attachment into their life. Good morning, Chad, fellow Toastmasters. I don't see any guests today. When I talked about clarity, either way, whether you are giving a speech or talking to somebody one or trying to pass on some message, it has to be very clear. From my experience, I faced 2 different contrasting type of speakers or whoever speaks to me. One who speaks confusingly, but at the end, they may giving you very good, excellent messages, like saints. See, I have personal experience in both the cases. Last year, one of the saints came to my hometown and gave a very long speech. Initially, it was very boring. He was talking about the neurology, strengthening your tissues, cells. Even sometimes he talks about keeping an energy, and it's very contagious. Everyone was a little upset because since he's a Jain, he may be looking after 10 years or 20 years, so we are all afraid whether he's talking about a disease. But at the end, it's all very clear, and I came to know that he's just talking about smiles and laughter. So that's how we ended up. Second incident, second type of people, they speak very clearly. There's no question in it. When we are talking to them, it looks like we are able to answer every line to them, or we are able to understand what they are speaking. But by the time before leaving the hall, or by the time when you are leaving the person, you feel that it's totally confused. We may end up. See, one incident when I am in the farm, Jay came with a sheep, herding it for grazing. He had a black sheep and white sheep mixed together. Just for curiosity, like regular Jay, I wanted to be in close touch with him as best friend. I asked him, hey Jay, how many sheep you have? He looked at me, Siva, be clear. Are you asking a white sheep or black sheep? I just took a second.